ever seen a man who built an empire of fame, money, and power, suddenly brought to his knees in a courtroom? A man once untouchable, now facing the weight of every dark secret he thought would stay hidden forever. This is not a song, not a music video, not a red carpet night. This is the shocking fall of Sean Diddy Combs, a story of power, fear, and the kind of truth that no spotlight can hide. The courtroom was silent, heavy with anticipation. After 7 long weeks of testimony, scandals, and painful revelations, 12 jurors stepped forward to deliver the judgment that would change everything. Diddy sat at the defense table, dressed sharp but visibly tense. His eyes darted between the judge and jury, waiting for words that could either free him or bury him. The verdicts dropped like thunder. Not guilty of racketeering conspiracy. Not guilty of sex trafficking Cassandra Ventura. Not guilty of sex trafficking Jane. But then came the blows. Guilty of transporting Cassandra Ventura to engage in prostitution. Guilty of transporting Jane to engage in prostitution. The gallery gasped, whispers rushing like a storm through the room. Some smiled in relief. Some sat stunned. Others shook their heads. Diddy slowly bent to his knees, bowing as if in prayer, lips moving silently. When he rose, he clapped his hands defiantly toward the gallery. Supporters answered with applause and cheers, their voices clashing against the grim weight of the guilty counts. But the judge's words cut the noise to dust. Bail denied. Continued detention. A man who once ruled stages and studios was now ruled by the law. Sentencing was scheduled for October, with the judge warning of Combs's disregard for law and history of violence. Before being led away, he turned to his family, his mother, his children, and declared, "I'll see you when I get out. We're going to get through this." The trial had been brutal. 5 charges in total. 2 stuck. Each carried a maximum of 10 years. His lawyers argued for 2 years, prosecutors demanded 4 to 5, and 9 months had already been served. But this wasn't just about numbers. It was about reputation, about a legacy now drenched in scandal. For weeks, the courtroom heard story after story. Former lovers, employees, and even industry insiders spoke of nights fueled by drugs, control, and what Combs allegedly called freak-offs. According to Cassandra Ventura, Cassie, these weren't wild parties of choice, but sessions of manipulation. She described years of abuse, physical, emotional, and sexual. She told the jury of blackmail threats, of being raped after their breakup, of surveillance footage that captured him assaulting her in a hotel hallway. Jane, another woman, echoed those horrors. She said she felt trapped. Her rent paid by Combs, her choices silenced by financial control. She told the court that when she tried to refuse, he dismissed her, pressured her, and reminded her who held the power. The defense tried to strike back. They pointed to affectionate text messages, claiming these women were willing participants. They argued jealousy, blurred memories, and drug use. They painted the story as a private lifestyle, not a criminal enterprise. And in some ways, they won. The most serious charges, racketeering, sex trafficking, fell apart under the weight of doubt. But 2 charges remained like burning scars. Witnesses piled on. Former assistants swore they were ordered to arrange hotel rooms, stock condoms, and fetch drugs. One woman testified she was assaulted during her employment. Others claimed protecting Diddy's public image was a strict command. The defense attacked their credibility, pointing to inconsistencies and financial motives. But the jury decided some truths were undeniable. The verdict wasn't just legal. It was deeply human. For Cassie and Jane, it was a moment of validation, though scars remain. For Combs, it was survival, but survival with a broken crown. For his family, it was heartbreak as they watched him escorted away. For the public, it was a fracture. Some calling it injustice, others calling it overdue reckoning. And the story isn't over. Civil lawsuits still circle him, waiting like vultures. More women are stepping forward. Prosecutors are determined to push for prison time. His lawyers promise appeals, vowing never to stop until he is free. But as of now, Diddy sits in a detention cell, 55 years old, no longer untouchable, counting days instead of dollars. Because in the end, this isn't just the story of a superstar's trial, it's the story of how power, wealth, and fame collide with truth. How secrets eventually step out of the shadows. And how a man once celebrated by millions now faces the possibility of years behind bars. The verdict is in. The chapter is closed. But the story of Sean Diddy Combs' fall is far from over.